Hello and welcome to part 6 of building a motorized bicycle. I am Benjamin Carano, and I know you all have waited so long, and so have I, but the bike is now finally finished, and this video will be primarily the test ride and a few other little tune-ups and bits we gotta do before starting the bike. If you'd like to see my progress on how I built the bike, please check out the previous tutorials. And if you like this build, this is the final tutorial, so please subscribe, comment, like, and with that, let's get to the test ride. So obviously I do not need to really do much of a parts overview for this tutorial. It's pretty obvious. You're just going to need your bike and a tank of gas and some two-cycle engines and two-stroke engine oil. So I will be giving a quick overview though of a couple of upgraded features and parts that I added to the bike since the last tutorial. These are completely optional, but I figure I'll just do them anyway. And then a couple like tune-ups and things that you'll have to perform to the bike before and during use. So let's get to it. Now for a few of those additional features that were added to the bike. The biggest one is a rear seat, so I can now fit 2 passengers. And I'll give a close-up video of this. I added a front and rear light, and that's basically it. Those were some of the key features that I was really pleased with that this bike will hold. Again, I got the back wheel built strong enough for an extra seat, so I did that. I added some foot pegs for the extra seat so that the rider can rest their feet. This is just the companion bike seat. It comes with a backrest as well, but I did not use that. So I'll give you a close-up of the seat. So a cool feature of the seat is the storage compartment that is built in underneath, and it has a little lock on the back that you can just pop up, and then the seat lifts up, and that's where I keep some additional essentials such as the D-lock that I also purchased. This is an essential feature thing that you need to have for this bike. It's a nice bike, you know, it was expensive to build. People are going to want to take it, so a good lock is always good to have, and I keep that under the seat, as well as a little bottle of gas and a little bottle of two-stroke oil in case I'm stranded out on the street somewhere without that. And then it has 2 little red reflectors back here. So with that, we can close the seat back up. I'll just take the locks out for now, because I have yet to build probably a little foam container thing in there that will hold this very well without kind of rattling around when I start driving. So then to close it, you just push in the lock and it clicks closed, and now we're ready for a test ride. I'll do a test ride first, well, first I'll show you how I mix the gas and oil and how to treat the engine and a couple things like that before you go on your first test ride. But then I'll do a test ride of just me riding it, and then I'll show you how it performs a little bit with 2 people on it, so you can get a little taste of if you want to do an extra seat on your bike as well. So let's get to that. So what I do is I pre-mix the fuel and oil in an additional glass bottle or plastic bottle. For this I just use a glass bottle with a sealed cork, so that because the oil leaks out really easily, so that helps it. And then what I'll basically just do is they recommend a 16:1 ratio for the break-in period of your engine, which is usually about the first 10 to 15 miles of riding. So what I'll do is I just took a quarter cup measure and I did 16 quarter cups, and this is a 1 liter bottle, and then I made a mark, and that's where I would fill it up with gas. And then I did another quarter cup and then made another mark, and so I'll fill it up to that first mark with gas and then the second mark with oil. The marks have already rubbed off with the Sharpie, so I'll have to probably etch them in at some point, but this is some leftover from when I had already mixed it up. And then they recommend a 25:1 ratio after the break-in period, but I like to not go any higher than a 20:1 ratio, because yeah, you might get a little bit of carbon buildup in your carburetor, but it's better safe than sorry to replace a carburetor every now and then or clean it out, rather than having your engine and bearings and whatnot not have enough oil. So this is very, very essential. You don't want to run it with packing oil or anything like that. You really want to use good quality two-stroke oil. and make sure your engine is lubricated. So with that, I'll show you how I put in the tank and a couple things I had to do to the gas cap to make it compatible while I was riding. So as I said earlier, I had to do a couple things to the gas cap. It was originally just pink and solid, and if I unscrew it, you can see here that I have drilled a small hole right through it, and that's on that side too, and the hole is basically so that the gas tank can get air in. You can get ventilated gas caps, but what I'll basically be doing soon is making my own ventilated gas cap. I'll be putting a piece of plastic over the top with a little channel that goes out to the side, because right now if the rain falls down, it'll just go right into the gas tank. So I'll be creating my own ventilated gas cap, as well as painting it all gray eventually, but I had to do that in order for the gas to have enough airflow to come in the engine without stalling. So that's something you'll probably have to do before starting it up. And with that, I just basically poured 2 liters of gas in here. It's a 2.4 liter tank. I just go with 2 liters of gas and oil mixture. And with that, we can do a couple things. I'll show you how to make the first adjustments on the engine and the choke and chains and things, and then we'll do the test ride. So these two levers here and here are the two main things you're going to want to know before starting your engine. This is your gas shutoff valve, and whenever you're not using the bike, I always keep this closed, just so that nothing leaks out or floods the engine while I'm not using it. And then when you want to start it, you're just going to turn that down, and that just opens the gas flow. And then this is your choke right here, this little lever that's on the upgraded carburetor I have. I'll click down, then you push it in, and it clicks up, and when it's up, that's when it's after it's warmed up. But when you first start it, especially on a cold day, you're going to want to push that down to start it, and when the engine is already good and warmed up and going well, then that's when you push it back up to let more air into the engine. So that's, the choke is definitely a very good thing to know about, especially when starting on a cold day. So basically you're just going to have the choke down and the gas open, and you're going to want to pedal until you're about 5 miles an hour, going about 5 miles an hour, and then you just let the clutch in, and that starts the engine, and then you can give it some throttle and you know, go from there. I'm not going to explain how to drive a clutch or any of that. You know, just look up a motorcycle video or a video on driving a motorized bicycle, because I'm sure there's plenty of those out there. So that's basically how to use it. And then there's one additional thing that has to be done, is this chain tensioner pulley down here. That's going to have to get raised as the bike is riding, because it'll loosen up the chains a bunch. So every now and then you're going to have to raise that chain tensioner arm. So that's why we've installed it with a little bit of space above it, so you can raise the pulley, just because the chain will loosen up and it'll start slipping off if you don't constantly keep raising that. So with that, it's test ride time. Alright guys, so safety first, wear a helmet, let's go get this thing started. So that's it guys, that's all you need to know to get started. Now let's take off. So now move this guy, move it up now. That's open, and now that's it. So let's get riding. So all in all, the test ride with one person went very well. The bike had a top speed of about 35 miles an hour, and nothing went wrong. It was all working really well. Had to tighten up a couple of things like the chain tensioner arm and whatnot because of the break-in period with loosening up the chains and some other bolts and things. But that's pretty good. And then I did another upgrade recently, put some fenders on it. I have just some generic plastic fenders here on the front and back, and I had to do a little bit of customization to cut it for the motor drive chain, but otherwise this will now allow me to drive in the worse conditions on the road of sand and water and whatnot if I get stuck in them. So that's the other upgrade, and with that, let's put 2 people. So this is my friend August, and we'll be doing an extra ride back together. So that's it, guys. All in all, the test ride with 2 people, about 300 pounds on the bike, went really well. Nothing happened on the bike, nothing loosened up. In terms of power, it had a little more lag up the hills, we noticed. And the top speed was reduced by about 10 miles an hour, so it went about 25 miles an hour on relatively flat ground. So that's basically the review for 2 people, but that still works great. 25 miles an hour is not bad for being able to carry an extra passenger on it. And again, that is all to the help of the upgrades, such as the high compression head and everything, which allows for more torque up the hills. So with that, the test ride 2 people went really well. So guys, that concludes the bike build. I am very pleased with this bike. I was kind of taking risks when I first built it, as I told you in the first video, where I was kind of debating between going with this and a moped or whatever for getting around town. But this is really great. It is 2-stroke, so I kind of can't ride it for super long periods of time because it heats up faster. It's got a lot of power for the small engine. But overall, it's really reliable. It's working very well for me. and I would highly recommend this build to you all. I used high quality parts, and it is not broken at all. I've ridden it for quite a while. This is skipping ahead just a little bit, and it's working out great for me. So if you all have any questions, please comment below, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.